In addition, men who routinely sleep just 4 to 5 hours a night will have a level of testosterone which is that of someone 10 years their senior.
Sleep isn't just rest. It's a biological imperative, a dynamic and active set of physiological processes that restores tissues, regulates stress systems, supports immunity, consolidates memory, balances hormones, and promotes resilience. Modern science increasingly reveals that sleep, particularly deep restorative sleep, is foundational to our physical and psychological well-being. Today's Deep Sleep Tuesday dives deep into what sleep really is and why it matters. Sleep's role in stress recovery and physiology. Evidence-based ways to improve sleep for better health. Along the way, we'll quote specific studies and physiological mechanisms to illustrate why sleep functions as it does and how rest influences almost every system in the body. What sleep really is. A dynamic biological state. Sleep isn't passive. It comprises distinct stages that the brain and body cycle through every night, each with unique functions. Non-REM and REM, the architecture of sleep. Sleep is typically divided into non-rapid eye movement NREM sleep, which includes light sleep. Stages 1 to 2, deep sleep stage 3, also called slow wave sleep. Rapid eye movement REM sleep, associated with vivid dreaming and emotional processing. Deep sleep. In 3 predominates in the first half of the night and is crucial for cellular repair, growth hormone release, and immune function. Cortical and autonomic activity are markedly reduced in this stage, allowing physiological systems to recover. REM sleep, which increases in the latter half of the night, is tied to memory consolidation, emotional processing, and neuroplasticity. Across the full night, multiple cycles reinforce both body and brain. Proteomic and biochemical signatures of sleep. Large-scale research using proteomics, the study of proteins, shows that sleep and rest activity rhythms are associated with proteins involved in immune response, inflammation regulation, and metabolic function. These signatures correlate with major health outcomes, including cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. This means sleep isn't just a state where activity slows. It's a time when systemic biochemical repair processes are engaged actively. Sleep and stress recovery, how rest restores balance. Sleep and stress are deeply intertwined. Stress affects sleep, and sleep affects stress responses, sometimes in adaptive ways. Bidirectional relationship between stress and sleep. Stress can both disrupt sleep and, in some cases, promote recovery sleep. A 2023 study on the relationship between stress and sleep highlights that while acute stress commonly fragments sleep, there are adaptive mechanisms whereby post-stress sleep contributes to anxiety reduction and resilience in both animals and humans. But chronic stress, the kind many people face daily, tends to disrupt sleep architecture, particularly deep and REM sleep, leading to long-term physiological consequences. Sleep loss activates stress systems. Sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it changes neuroendocrine function. Research shows that restricted or disrupted sleep increases reactivity of stress systems, including the autonomic nervous system fight or flight response, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, HPA axis, which releases cortisol. These changes heighten stress sensitivity and can worsen responses to new stressors. This means insufficient sleep doesn't just reduce rest, it amplifies stress physiology. Sleep deprivation alters hormones and metabolism. In the cardiovascular system, sleep supports blood pressure dipping and reduced sympathetic activation. Without adequate sleep, the body remains in a heightened stress mode, keeping heart rate and vascular tension elevated throughout the night and day. Sleep reactivity. Why stress disrupts sleep more in some people. Not all stress disrupts sleep equally. Research on sleep reactivity, how strongly stress impacts the sleep quality, shows that individuals vary widely. Those with high sleep reactivity experience profound insomnia under stress, while others remain unaffected. Genetic, neurobiological, and environmental factors contribute to this trait. This variability helps explain why stress doesn't affect everyone's sleep the same way. But what remains consistent is that stress and sleep architecture influence one another in both directions. Why deep sleep matters for health outcomes. Deep sleep, especially in our EM. Stage 3 is where some of the most restorative processes occur: immune function and chronic disease prevention. Sleep is a time when the body synthesizes cytokines and immune cells, which are vital for fighting infection and modulating inflammation. Chronic sleep loss weakens immune responses and is associated with greater susceptibility to illnesses. Cardiovascular and metabolic health. Good sleep supports the cardiovascular system by lowering blood pressure, reducing inflammation, regulating heart rate and vascular tone. Poor sleep is linked to a higher risk of hypertension, heart disease, stroke, and metabolic disorders such as diabetes. Notably, studies show that the heart and blood vessels benefit from the nightly dip in stress hormones and pressure, a period of natural recovery that only occurs with adequate sleep depth and duration, brain function, and cognitive restoration. Sleep is essential for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and cognitive function. Several lines of evidence show that sleep affects executive function, attention, and processing speed. Emotional resilience research suggests that poor sleep quality is linked to declines in these domains, even when other health factors are controlled. Evidence-based ways to improve sleep and stress recovery. Moving from why sleep matters to how to improve it, here are evidence-supported patterns grounded in research. Prioritize consistent timing and circadian alignment. Sleep is regulated by an internal circadian clock that synchronizes with environmental light-dark cycles. Classic experiments and circadian research show that the body's clock persists even without external cues, underscoring the importance of light exposure and timing to maintain healthy rhythms. Consistent sleep schedules, going to bed and waking at roughly the same times, reinforce this rhythm, which supports deep sleep and stress recovery. Extend sleep duration when it's short. Emerging research on sleep extension interventions suggests that increasing total sleep duration, even modestly, can have beneficial effects on metabolic and cardiovascular health. If you routinely get short sleep, even 1 extra hour can shift stress hormones and downstream health markers in a positive direction. Sleep is biology, not luxury. Sleep is not an optional downtime. It's a biologically active, stress-modulating, repair-orchestrating process with measurable impacts on health outcomes from immune resilience to cardiovascular recovery. The research shows that sleep and stress systems are deeply connected. Deep restorative sleep facilitates physiological repair. If you'd like, I can provide a weekly annotated bibliography of seminal sleep science papers, structured to support further writing, talks, or content framing. Just let me know the focus or audience.